All right, hello and welcome back to the Defining Success podcast. Today I am here with Zach Padgett, who is an artist, photographer, filmmaker, viral TikToker, and entrepreneur. So, how's it going, man?
It's going. It's just going.
So, Zach and I went to college together, Full Sail University, and we graduated a little over a year ago, like a few days over a year ago,
It's
right?
crazy. Time flies.
Nuts. But he's found a lot of success, especially on TikTok, which was awesome because I kind of found you organically on TikTok after
Oh, did you?
after your video started blowing up. You just started showing up on my For You page, and it was awesome to see. I looked at your profile and I was like, oh, he's got like a real following.
Yeah, yeah.
That's but the way I start out this podcast and the way I'd like to start with you is asking you, how do you define success?
That's such a great question. And I mean, like I've been thinking about it for a really long time. Obviously, because that's like success is shoved down our throats, forever. But for me, it's the process. Once you find love in the process of whatever it is, that's kind of when you find success. Like I don't really have an end goal, but I'm loving what I'm doing. And I think I would consider myself currently successful, because I'm working
Sure.
not towards something, but I'm working, because I love it, right? So you know, yeah,
Yeah,
that's probably how I define it.
that's a good definition. I feel like a lot of people on the podcast have talked about goals and then but like more important than achieving that goal is, yeah, what you were saying is enjoying the journey to achieving that goal
Absolutely. Yeah,
process.
'cause, yeah. A goal just means you're done working. I don't want to stop working.
Exactly, yeah. So what did the journey to getting this kind of, I guess, viral TikTok account, like, what, how did you start? Is it like, did you have any goals in mind when you started, or was it just kind of like, let's start having fun?
I mean, it was like I kind of fell into it. I was working at the Ritz Carlton as a photographer, and I was like making good money, and I was going, life was going well, but it was going in a direction I could see it would be a little mundane. Doing the same thing every day, 9 to 5. So I was like, so I made a drastic change to quit for no reason. I just quit my job and put myself in a hole essentially. So I was doing like marketing and stuff online, like doing, trying to help people start their businesses and things like that, but I wasn't really paying much of anything. And I was running out of my savings, so I was like, I gotta figure something out. And TikTok started being a thing. I actually came back up to Indiana for Christmas, and I visited my family. And I have a 11-year-old who was 12 now, but at the time, an 11-year-old cousin who was using TikTok because that's kind of like the demographic. And he told me I should get on it. And I had no idea what it was. Like I had heard of it, and I was like, I'm never getting on it. It sounds a little dumb. Isn't it made like by like Chinese spies? I don't know. It doesn't sound like something I want to get into. So I make a video, and it does okay. It was just like I don't remember exactly what it was, but and then I just kind of liked making the videos, and so I just kept doing that. And I made a video with my cat one time, and I noticed that it did really well. And Gary Vee started, like, he was starting to preach about TikTok, so I was like, let me take it a little seriously, because Gary Vee knows what he's talking about. And so I just kept making videos with my cat, and they kept getting more and more views. And so I started incorporating myself and my cat, and then it just kind of blossomed from there. It didn't take much time at all to get to where it's gotten now, and it's yeah, it was a complete accident. There was really no goal for it, and there's
Yeah.
still, yeah.
It's kind of crazy because I went back before this and I looked at all your TikToks, and like you said, you started around, I think your first TikTok was in like November of last year.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and I started consistently, I think, December.
yeah, and then in December, it was a little, you had more videos, and then I think early January you started kind of what your style is right now.
Yeah,
So how did you get into, was it because you tried a few different things on TikTok to start? You were
yeah.
just having, it looked like you're just having fun with it, but now
Oh,
you've got like a clear theme to your
oh
page.
yeah,
Like, people love it, and I love
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So how did you decide on theming your TikTok around like such a positive thing with just like you and your cat having fun?
Well, I mean, like I said, it was an accident, and with TikTok, it's when something clicks, the app moves so fast, you have to latch onto it, and then you know doing that. And you don't have to do it forever, because people get bored quickly, and so diversification is a whole other topic I could talk about forever. But I like I said, if I fell into it, people started liking those videos, and so I made more of them. The thing about TikTok is that there's so much happening. When anything that's sort of consistent, like people expect to see something from someone, they like that. And so that little consistency in their day, they expect to see this sort of video every day. That really is a good way to help grow on the platform. And so I stuck to that. And I think that was probably a really, big part of why I did what I did. Also, people, like, I don't know, I don't want to make anyone upset. And so I feel like my content is very much so the opposite of making people upset. And so I really enjoy doing that. So.
Yeah, I think like the biggest takeaway somebody would get if they looked at your videos, like aside from like you and your cat, I feel like you have a really positive, like just vibe to everything that you do. Like you're always
Yeah.
smiling, you're always laughing, and you've started to make videos recently or TikToks of like positive messages for maybe
Mhm.
people who are struggling.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's been really really great. I mean, I try and read the comments as much as I can. There are a lot of them, but I posted one. It was the first one where I did all these like really kind messages, and it did really well. And it was the first video in a while that I had posted without my cat that had done really well. And for me, I've been kind of going through this struggle of like this content like shift I want to make. Just wholesome overall content with still with my cat, but I there were 4,000 comments at the time. Now there's more, but I read all of them and liked all of them, and I tried to reply as many as I could. And just because there's people who are going through so much stuff, and just reading how much, uh, how much it helped, the video helped, and so that's kind of like really shifted me to want to do something more positive with like the platform that I've been given.
Yeah, and that's something I want to get into too is like the fans and like
Mhm.
having a following. Has that changed how you like live at all? Just knowing that you're kind of like in some ways having a million people like is a big deal, you know?
Yeah, I
Like
mean, it doesn't. I
watching.
just yeah, it's weird. I don't think I navigate any differently. If anything, I'm more cautious about like people's feelings. I know a lot of people who've gotten a little bit of a following. They kind of get a little bit of a different air about them, like a little bit of a cockiness. But I mean, it's humbled me beyond belief. I feel like, and I just I don't know, especially because my content, I want to keep my character all through and through because I really love the person I am in my TikToks, and so trying to become that person in real life is like a big goal of mine as well. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I and I think a lot of people can relate to this just because the nature of how like the TikTok algorithm works. But like I have a video, I think it's at like 3.5 million right now,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's not something I'm like proud of or something I'd want to be known for. So what would your advice be to somebody who like went viral, but it's not really something they want to continue, like that theme of video that went viral?
Well, yeah, I mean, TikTok's a place where anyone can go viral. You don't have to have a following, and you can turn anything into anything. If you do want to try and pursue some sort of social media or influencer lifestyle like that, if you have one video that did really well, I mean, like for me, the cat, like I had never in my life, I'm a photographer, and I always thought I was going to make content like Peter McKinnon or Casey Neistat. Um, but I mean, I've always loved making people laugh and smile. So I just drew what I could from the content that did well, and I just expanded on that. Of course, I kept making cat content. So say you have that video, probably just keep doing it, and then you can make that shift happen later. You might not like it in the beginning, and I don't. And this is only if you do really think you want to try this sort of lifestyle of making content like that. If not, then just might not be for you, and that's completely fine too. But kind of go through the dirt a little bit, make the content that you may not be so proud of, and then start to shift. If it's a complete 180 of who you are, then maybe that was just a viral video, and it's just gonna stay that way, and that's okay too.
Yeah, because I think it's super weird when you post something, you wake up the next day, and I'm sure you experienced this at the beginning, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden you got millions of people that have seen it, and then like for me personally, I think I got like I said 3.5, and I woke up the next day with 8,000 followers, and I'm like,
What was the video?
um, again, it's like not something I'm super proud of, but like I took a sound of somebody yelling, and then I
Mhm.
made up like a story about how my mom was mad at my little brother or something, and
Oh
people.
yeah, yeah. Okay, something like that.
And so I don't know. It's a strange thing to all of a sudden get that much attention. So
Yeah.
that leads me to a question about numbers. We kind of talked about your followers too, but when you post, how conscious are you of how many views and likes and comments and everything you're getting?
Um, I would like to say that I don't care about the likes and views, but I do, and not for the reason, not for my ego, but because I know that people want to see my content, And a lot of times the TikTok algorithm is so jam packed that I do know, and I've spoken with, my growth strategist, to someone who kind of works with the algorithm, and she's like works with the people who code it and everything. So I know that it can kind of miss some things sometimes. And so I will delete posts if they don't do well, because I want all my followers to be able to see them. So I'll repost them later on and try again. In the beginning, I, would get, let's say when I was getting like maybe 15,000 likes consistently, there was like a good couple weeks where that was like the best I would do. And I didn't really even care. I enjoyed it. And like my friends would send me screenshots like, this video did so well. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't even like look at it. Like I just wouldn't know. I tried to keep myself pretty like humble like from that, because I didn't know how it would affect me. I know social media, or like, and I don't want to say influencer, but like that sort of lifestyle, where I make a content creation lifestyle. That's something I've been chasing after for a very, very long time. And if you know me, you know that. And so I just didn't know how it would affect me. And so I wanted to keep myself from the beginning conditioned to not really, looking at the numbers too much and letting that affect me.
Yeah, and I think you touched on an important thing there, and it's like you've been kind of wanting to be a creator for a long time. Like I met you at film school,
Yeah,
like
right, yeah.
you were always taking pictures, you were always working on your Instagram and just trying to make content that people like. So I think that's probably a good point, is there's a difference between somebody who's aspired to be a content creator and somebody who kind of fell into it, and how to
Right.
handle the numbers.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and there's like some people fall into it and love it, and they realize that that's what they were made to do. And some people will chase after it for years, get it, and that's not for them. That's not what they want to do. So I'm lucky. I kind of got lucky. I wanted to do it, and I really still love doing it.
Yeah.
Since
Well, lucky is, I don't know if that's the right word, because you're definitely working hard. Like consistency it takes to do what you're doing is great.
yeah.
So I do have a question. I think a lot of people are wondering, like, is this what you do now? Are you a TikToker? Like, is that your job?
Okay, so it started off as no, like I wouldn't make any money. It was just for fun. I mean, it's still just for fun, but and actually there was like a big part. I was making these videos and doing my marketing on the side, making barely enough for rent for marketing. And I have a business mindset. At the end of the day, like I love art, I love creating and just content in general. But I have a business mindset. I want to make money and survive. And so like people would ask if I'm making money off TikTok when I had like 100,000 followers. I'm like, no, I'm just doing it for fun. People would get a little upset. They're like, you're just doing it for fun. I'm like, yeah, like it's a good time. But now I do work at Starbucks, but I don't need the hours. Like I'm at the point with TikTok, and I just launched my merch yesterday, and it did pretty well, and it's doing really well
All
still.
that.
I've been working all day, but I'm at the point where I don't necessarily need to have another job, but it's nice to. Um, and that's kind of the interesting thing, and just yeah. So I would say yes, but also no. It's
Okay.
yeah.
What about moving forward? Is it something that you want to? And obviously, influencer, like you were saying, Gary Vee's really pushing TikTok. At some point, it might be something else. So it's like influencer and keeping up with what, is getting the most eyes and getting your content to the most people. Is that kind of what you want to be doing?
Yeah, but also with community is really important. I prefer quality over quantity. I'd rather have 100,000 super fans than a million people who just kind of enjoy the content. So for me, YouTube is the goal. Like that's where I want to end up. That's where I want my most solid fan base is YouTube. TikTok is temporary. You can see that with content like similar to it on Vine. It went away.
Yeah.
I want to shoot for Twitch and YouTube, because I know those are two very solid platforms who've been doing very well for a very long time. And yeah, so I think it's not necessarily like the amount of people, but like where I want to be, it would be, having a condensed amount of people, at least who trust me to, to follow my content.
I definitely understand that, especially because I feel like those places are established as like where you go to get your favorite creators' content.
Right, and I mean, as far as business goes, like those are trusted platforms as well. Like I've been having a lot of email conversations with people in different companies who are pretty like on edge about TikTok, because it's so new and so fast moving, and it's so uncertain that a lot of advertisers are afraid to kind of like reach out that way. But with YouTube and Twitch and Instagram, it's like such a solid, and it's like very established. Yeah, like you said.
Yeah. So talk to me about for a little bit and plug it obviously, but your merch, you dropped it yesterday.
Yeah,
And I looked at your website and it's more than just like merch. It looks like
yeah.
you're like starting a brand. So talk about
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and that's really big because like merch is great. Like, and I wear like all my friends that I've met through TikTok, I've bought their merch, and like it's like usually what I wear. But for me, I don't really want anything with my face on it or my name on it. I know my followers do want that, and that's why I supplied it with this drop. Also, it was good because it's a good way to get people to the site. Um, and I want it to essentially become like a big community, also like a store, but like a community where people will go and do things. I have a lot of really big plans with Wholesome Pines. This is the website, it's wholesomepines.com. And yeah, so I right now I have merch, but I want to do like camping, outdoors, wholesome type of clothing and apparel. And there, it's a good message I think behind the brand, and I want to build it around helping people essentially. So yeah, it's just a good starting point. The merch kind of get things started. So.
Yeah, I was actually really happy when I clicked on the link for your merch because it seems to fit like before you got big on TikTok, you were
Yeah,
like your Instagram had a certain aesthetic and like your
yeah, like that folky,
who you
warm.
are, which is
Yeah,
great. Um, so what has been have there been any big challenges or are you just enjoying the process so much that
yeah.
it's not easy, but
Uh,
a big
I
challenge that
mean,
you faced?
there's a little bit of both. Of course, there's challenges. Like yeah, like I have no idea what I'm doing with this merch thing. I'm being honest. I have no clue what I'm doing. I mean, I've never had anything at that like at scale like this. So as far as TikTok goes, the content has always been a little. I mean, it's based around my cat, and I feel like I have a lot to offer, and so for me, I'm stuck in this. Not anymore. I feel pretty comfortable where I am now, but I was in this thing where I wanted to change my content, but I was so afraid and of losing followers or whatever. I mean, and so I think it's just it's challenging to get comfortable on the app just because it moves so fast. And I think internally, just like what the kind of content that I'm creating and moving forward, how to create longevity with my platform. That's been a pretty big challenge. But you know, I we get so tied up in the numbers, and I realized that I was shooting for when I was swinging for the stands every post, like trying to make every post go viral, and I was becoming every time I did that, the video didn't do well. I would get less and less, encouraged to want to make more content. Now I'll post a video if it gets, a tenth of what I'm used to. I'm okay with it because I like the video. It's just, that's tough to get used to. And but besides that, honestly, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm not trying to put too much pressure on myself for it. So keep
Right.
it
Yeah.
light.
In your video where you talk about getting 1 million followers, I think you said it pretty well there. You're just like, I'm just having fun and I want to keep
Yeah,
having fun. So,
yeah,
and
for
you
sure.
tried to define success at the beginning. So
Mm.
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Have
and
you,
that,
you said that community has been important. Has there been any mentors or anybody that has like really helped you through, uh, guiding you through this success?
yeah. So there's like some TikTokers who I've been in contact with, since I started, who've been very, very kind. There's Nice Michael, Morgan Drinks Coffee, and I would say um, those are the two people who've really like helped kind of coach me a little bit. And it's not like I'm not asking them questions every day, but whenever I do ask them something, they're always willing to help. They've been established and they have millions of followers, so it's really great to have someone to kind of help me through. But for the most part, I've been using my followers as kind of like the base. I've just been listening to what they want, and I started the Discord server, and I think right now it's probably close to 900 members, which is really cool. And just using I guess it's customer service at the end of the day. Not that my followers are customers, but I'm treating it like that in the case where they have suggestions, and I really always try and listen to them.
Right.
And so I've been using them kind of as my mentor in a way. So
That's that's a really interesting take on it.
yeah.
To your audience is your mentor. So,
Mhm.
what's some of the best advice you've received in the past, however, the six
Oh,
months since you started?
yeah. So much advice. Be yourself. There's my favorite TikToker is Brittany Broski. She's the kombucha girl. Um,
Oh yeah,
Not necessarily because like of any reason besides that she's so like unapologetically herself. Like there's so much content and there's so many people. like it's such a damper on your potential to be someone that you're not. It's hard, it's difficult to be someone you're not. You know how easy it is to be yourself.
Right.
You don't have to try. And so it's that would probably be it. And that's the advice I give to people. They want to be successful on social media, or they want to be comfortable, if that's like working through anxiety in social situations, anything like that. Like just being comfortable being yourself, being comfortable being the weirdest person in the room. Like being yourself is so valuable because there's nobody else like you. And that's like the most genuine statement that I can say. And yeah, that's probably the best advice that I've received in a very long time.
Yeah. That's That's good advice, and I think that relates back to my question earlier that if you go viral for something you don't necessarily want to be identified with.
Yeah, and that's where it gets tough. Yeah.
Yeah, because like obviously I see the value in a platform like TikTok where you can get an audience that is genuinely interested in the content you're creating.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
especially in the degree we have in film, and that's what I do, it's
Mhm.
a good place to do it, but I don't know if I've figured out exactly how to bring my skills and talents to that app specifically. So when I did
Right.
go viral and get 8,000 followers, none of those people know who I am, know what I do.
Right.
I can't put out the content I want. So I think it was almost a mistake to just kind of bait the app into making me viral instead of just being myself. So I
Yeah, yeah, and it's tough. And like sometimes you're like, why did that one go viral? You know what I
yeah,
mean? You're like, I wish this one, the one that I worked on, the one that I care about. And honestly, that's fine too. Once you build up enough of an audience, like I've really gathered this. Once you build up a trust in like the community, and that's why community is so important, is because they become transferable to different platforms, and they'll follow you. You're generating super fans, and they're very valuable, to you and your content. Also, as far as business goes, they'll buy your merch, they'll support you, however they can. But that you're really building that audience. And like if the content that I make, yeah, I make like wholesome cat content and things like that. But you've seen my short films are not
yeah,
not necessarily that way. And so that's something I'm going to continue to do. I'm just building a platform for it where the people, I would say that the 900 people in the Discord will follow me anywhere. And that's not to say that like I'm some sort of great leader, but I've just built a trust and a relationship with all of them, and we're close. And so I think that's important. Out of 1.1 million people, there's like 1,000 people who that really, really, F with my stuff, and they're very transmittable. And that's what's great about TikTok is you can build it up and condense it down. And I mean, 1,000 people is better than 0 people. So
oh, 100%. And I think one thing, and I learned this, I've had a lot of business people on this podcast too, and instead of wording it as like getting customers or whatnot, everybody seemed to word it as like, how can we give more people more value? And I think that that's with anything, especially content. Like you were saying, you have many different outlets for your creativity, and if you can find a way to use that to give value to somebody's life, like with your short film, um,
yeah,
in at college, Zach made a really emotional short film that I think a lot of people resonated with. And it gives people value to know that they're not alone in situations and things. And even the TikToks, it's giving value to many people. So to your point of having this content that you're kind of known for, but then also you have a different style that you like to create. I think like a creator that you said you like is like Casey Neistat. If he came out with a horror movie tomorrow, I'd be like the first one to watch it because
yeah,
it's just you're a fan of him.
yeah, exactly. And you're gonna watch no matter what he does.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
his content gives you value,
absolutely.
which is awesome. So, what is a benefit? Obviously, you quit your job at the Ritz Carlton. What is a benefit of kind of being, and I know you said you have a job too, but of being like your own boss?
Um, wow. I mean, well, you can work whenever you want. And I honestly, depending on who you are, that's not necessarily a benefit because you know, don't sleep. I would, so it's like but I would say a good thing is that, you can make changes whenever you want. You can call the shots. Like it's tough because I've never really felt like anyone's been in charge of me, at least when I'm doing the things that I really want to do. I know in film school, when we were making our final project, the instructors were kind of in that role where I had this big creative idea and they were the boss saying, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
So that's really the closest thing I can relate it to, where if I want to try something, I can try it. I have like unlimited creative potential on my platform right now. No one's going to tell me no. And I'm going to get my answer from, the people who are digesting the content, so no one can say no before I even try. And that's a really great thing. It's, because you never know until you try. And so I don't get to hear no from anybody. And that's always really great.
Is it sometimes hard being in charge of your own schedule and like nobody's telling you like at this time you have to do this and you have to come up with all that yourself?
So yeah, there's that. I mean, everyone has motivation issues, I'm sure. That's something I've been really working on, is getting, onto a consistent schedule. I just, like, for me, and my ADHD is really bad, and being at home for so much because of quarantine, for one, it's really made my ADHD pretty bad. And so for me to focus on one thing at a time has been really tough. And trying to come up with a schedule to create content at the same time every day, it's like, that gets really difficult. But I don't know. It's good because I can just kind of hang out, and then when I get an idea, something just pops into my head, I just go and film it. But the problem is that what am I doing in between, right? And so working on, now that I have the merch, working, like that was all I did, setting up the website and getting all the logistics and designing on everything. That's that's all I did for 2 or 3 months, and so that gave me that base. And now I feel like I'm going to continue that. But at some point, I feel either if I don't have something to do immediately, what am I just going to walk around my house and maybe film a TikTok? But I think it's just packing yourself with things to do. Of course, in a healthy way, but keeping yourself busy will kind of help you keep that schedule. Because for the longest time before I started TikTok, I didn't really have anything to do, so I didn't really get anything done.
Yeah.
That was a big reason why I picked up that job at Starbucks, because I was restricted, and so I was like, okay, well now I only have this many hours a day, so I got to get something done.
I definitely feel that. Uh, um, Especially upon moving to LA, you get there and it's like, okay, nobody's telling me what the next step is. I got to go
Yeah.
figure it out myself.
Uh-huh.
And this world that we live in of content and this industry that we're in is just so, you either got to move or you lose, you got to just keep
Absolutely.
making stuff on your own. So if you could go back to when you graduated college that day in June a year ago and give
Yeah.
yourself some advice, what would it be? Would you change anything?
It's tough. I think maybe not. And I say that because, like, I've since I started school, and I think when I was in maybe the first year of Full Sail, I realized that um, I have self-awareness, and so I started to manifest one at that point. I started to understand how valuable manifestation and like just believing in belief is. And so I did that. I wanted to. We had a big competitive class. I wanted to direct all the short films, and I ended up doing that, and because I knew that I would. And that's not. I try to say that and not sound cocky, but it was just
Oh,
internally I knew that I could do it. And
I think you and I were very similar in that regard
yeah,
at school.
and so I think just I want to, if anything, I would go back and tell myself, just reassure myself, like, yeah, as long as you want to do it, you can do it. You can do literally anything you want. Literally anything you want, you can do it. And I'll tell anybody that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good advice. And I think again, I think we were very similar at school, and that's what kind of drove us both to step out in front and say, like, I'd like to do this project.
Yeah, for sure.
What does a typical day of Zach Padgett's life look like these days?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. Um, well, now I'm on vacation, so it's different. Um, do you want to know like what it's like now that the merch is out, or do you want to know what it's like before that, like just like before,
Let's hear
without that?
both. Let's hear both.
Both. Okay, so let's do
How
without.
different it is once you've started kind of the brand behind what you're doing as to before the brand.
Okay, so beforehand, before the merch came out, I would wake up at, let's see, I try and wake up as early as possible. 8:30 is my favorite time to wake up. So it ends up being 8:30 or 9. I get up out of bed, I shower, make coffee, and try and come up with some ideas for TikToks, and then I film them for the next day. At the time, I was doing pretty well, like being consistent on YouTube, and so I'd just like film little clips for YouTube. I'd post my TikToks, and I would either live stream for a couple hours or just keep filming until like 3 o'clock and then go to the gym. Because I still go to the gym every day, sometimes twice a day. And so that's been really important, especially like when I quit my job at the Ritz-Carlton, I was home all the time. I would have gone crazy if it wasn't for the gym. Um, but yeah, so and then I'll do that, and I'll make dinner, go to the store, get stuff for dinner, cook, make some more videos. Like it was just creating content, and then I always try and end my day playing video games, just to completely detach, so I can have a fresh restart and then sleep. A lot of people think that video games are like a bad thing, which I can see. I definitely, growing up, I had like a video game addiction. I would play for 8 hours a day, but I think that, they can be really important, depending on the games you play.
What are you
Just
playing?
a lot of Minecraft.
Yeah,
So a
nice.
lot of fun. Yeah, just I just sit, I chat with. If I stream it, I just talk to my chat and just build some stuff, and it's great. Or Fortnite, and I like Fortnite a lot because if I go through the day without any challenges, because I suck at Fortnite. I'm not bad, but that game's so hard. I don't get how people are so good at that thing.
Crazy.
But I like that because if I go through the day with no challenges, I don't feel like that was a successful day.
Yeah.
And so it gives me something to get mad about, right? It gives me something to put some fire into me, and so I really like Fortnite for that. But then and then I go to bed. Yeah, between 1 a.m. 2 a.m. Wake up, do it again.
Nice.
And so now that the merch is launched, I guess before the merch launched, same thing, but instead of making videos a lot of the time, I was working on the website. But now, I wake up at 7 a.m. and then I work on orders and make sure that everything's going smoothly, and submit orders, fulfill things, and like work on the finances, because I'm this nonsense to me. I don't even know what I'm doing. I feel like a dog behind a computer. No idea what's going on. And then I've really been on vacation the whole time, and so I'll go and get some coffee with my friends, and we'll hang out for a little bit, and then I'll get back to it, and then we'll hang out at night, have a couple of drinks, and hang out, and then I'll get back to it again, and then go to sleep. Same thing, and that's been the past 3 or 4 days. This weekend we're going to the lake, and I'm really trying to get ahead today. I'm probably going to work very, very late tonight, so I can make sure that tomorrow when we go to the lake, I'm just chilling. I want to take a vacation. I really wanted to treat this as a vacation, but we'll see.
Yeah. How important is relax to you? It sounds like that's a pretty busy, and with the video games, it's
Mhm.
relaxed, but it kind of just seems like a wind down type of.
Yeah,
So like,
I mean, wind down is. I think wind down is very important. Like, I have a very strict ritual of what I do at night. So like, if usually I try and start at like 7:30. That's like when I try and end my day. But a nice warm shower, dinner, tea, video games, or reading, music, like detaching myself from what I was doing that day is so important, because if I'm thinking about it too much, then I'm gonna mess something up. And then relaxing though, I think honestly, it's great to have this momentum. I feel really great that I'm working all the time, but I know that at the end of the week, I'm gonna be really dead. And I
yeah,
hate taking multiple days off, because for me, I can start to fall into a depression if I have to take a couple of days off of work. So that's why I try and do a really nice long wind down every night, instead of taking multiple days off in between. So it depends. It's different for everybody. So
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
I also think it's funny and also cool that you mentioned that part of your wind down sometimes is a need to have some challenge in the day with.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, which honestly, I never even really thought about that being like a weird thing. But yeah, I mean, it's if you go through the day without challenge, you're gonna wake up and feel like yesterday didn't matter, and you're like, well, today's not gonna matter. At least for me.
Yeah. I think, well, I've had this discussion with a lot of people on this podcast, especially the creatives I've had on. But I personally think that creativity is problem solving. And if you're
100%.
a creative person and you don't solve any problems or have any challenge during the day,
Yeah,
you kind of feel empty. So I definitely relate with what you're saying.
absolutely.
So I have a few more questions, and I have some questions I think that are common for when somebody goes viral for a lot of people, or has a career as an influencer.
Mhm.
Number one, you mentioned you have like a content strategy manager or something, right?
Yeah, a growth strategist. So
Right.
I
So
essentially,
at what point in your growth did you reach out and try to build a team to help you?
well, that wasn't actually. It's actually someone that TikTok provided.
Oh, really?
So they have a team of like for their creators. They have a whole creator team, and so once you're invited to the creator program, once your content starts getting recognized or noticed, they invite you to the creator program, and so this person will invite you, and they'll help you connect with brands from time to time, invite you to events, and because they sent a couple of TikTokers to the Grammys and to the Emmys. They send them to these events and things like that, and that's kind of who does that. And that's how I got invited to LA was with my growth strategist noticing my content, and asking, because it was an event for Black creators, and so that was great. It was a good bridge. But yeah, so TikTok provided them. I don't know. I have a weird thing about wanting to do a team. I love doing everything myself, but it's very difficult, especially doing this whole merch thing. I'm realizing it's very tough to do everything yourself. But
Yeah. I think that's just an interesting thing. I didn't know that TikTok actually provided you, and that was my next question, was how far along into your growth did TikTok first reach out to you?
well, it was. I think for me, honestly, it was a month, which doesn't happen very often. Well, maybe I don't. Nowadays, people blow up so fast, but for me, it was a month, and that was really crazy. It was like I remember I was in the shower, scrolling through TikTok because I was addicted. I was literally in the shower on TikTok, and I got a phone call, and I answered it in the shower. I turned the water off because I didn't know who it was, and because I just for some reason I just felt like I needed to answer it, and yeah, and so she told me what it was and invited me to the thing, and it was like, oh, cool, yeah.
That's super interesting. I
Mhm.
don't know. I feel like there's so many questions I've had about influencers because it's such a foreign job to people over a certain age. And when you're
Right.
asked
Yeah.
questions, like when your parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, whatever, ask
Mhm.
questions about like, well, how are people making money and stuff? You're just like brand deals, and they're like, what do you mean? What does that mean? And like, I
Right.
feel like there's such a misconception in
Yeah.
in just that world. And I was actually asked by a friend of mine the other day, if you could start any business, like what would you start? And my first answer was I would work with influencers, and
Mhm.
it's
It's
such
so
a
powerful.
powerful thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to them, that answer was foreign. It was like, you wouldn't start a business or like selling something. And I was like, I don't
Mhm.
know. Like, I feel like,
I mean, you have to think it's the most direct form of advertising.
yeah.
A billboard is a shot in the dark. You don't know who's driving by that thing, but
And you
you
don't
but
trust
you
the
can
billboard. You trust a person that you,
absolutely like I can't tell you how many times I've actually probably like four. I bought something because of someone I watch told me to buy it or said that they use it. It's and I'm not a person to spend money like that, and so it's like it's super powerful to do that. I mean, and you just like for me even like I never thought that anyone would trust anything I say like that or buy something because I said so, but it does happen. And it's just really crazy how it works.
have you been asked to promote something that you don't believe in and you don't want to kind of sell to your audience?
Yeah, there's been some. It's mainly music. There's a lot of people who want music promotion on TikTok, which I understand because if a song blows up on TikTok, it blows up. My
Right.
friend Michael, his name is Nice Michael. He's a really big component on how Old Town Road blew up because it got big on TikTok. He found Lil Nas on SoundCloud and like reached out to him, and so like music is really big, and people will try and pitch me these their songs which have a lot of bad words in them, and it doesn't fit with my vibe whatsoever. And I'm like, I mean, I really appreciate your hustle, like 100%. But for me, my content it wouldn't do well for you. I
Right.
don't, I don't listen to that music. There's a good chance my followers don't listen to that music, so it's not going to benefit anybody.
It would just feel inauthentic. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are some things I did a brand deal recently where I was promoting a video editing software for your phone, and at first I was like that doesn't I use Premiere, to edit all my videos. I use Premiere, but this was an app that was. But I started thinking that I get a lot of comments of people asking how I edit my TikToks because I you can't do what I do on TikTok, and so I was like, well, let me actually think about this. I can help my audience with this, and you know, so I took the brand deal, and a lot of people were like, "Wow, this is really helpful. I've been wanting to make videos like yours, or videos in general, and now I have a way to do it because not everyone has access to a computer with Premiere Pro. It's expensive, so
Dollar a month
um,
software. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's tough. So yeah,
That's
um,
cool. Yeah. I
yeah.
watched that video and I was wondering, I was actually thinking in the back of my head, like, is this how he actually edits? Because
I mean, it's not how I do it, but I figured, and now if I'm ever without my computer, I know that I can do
Yeah.
it, and so I'll be using that app. And so, there are points where I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do it. There's a brand that I'm kind of in talks with that does. I don't know if you've heard of Zoom University,
Yeah.
but it's like, yeah, they reached out, and I want to help them, and I do. I think there's a lot that I can do with them. Right now, I just can't really take on any brand deals because there's so much happening. But the you know I'm trying to think of the best way that my audience could connect with theirs, because theirs is very like college kids and like partying and dating and things like that. Mine's not necessarily like that. I have a very young audience, and
Yeah.
so I don't want to.
And if they don't have a cat for your cat.
Exactly, and I had an idea where I brought in another cat creator, and we go on a double date on the app. So
That's awesome.
I'm trying to incorporate it, but I also want to make sure that it's a benefit for both of them, because they're spending a lot of money, and I don't want anyone to waste money. Like that's
Exactly. Yeah.
so.
I think you're going about it in the right way because I've seen some creators that and people that I liked, and they try to sell you something that they know isn't the best or
Yeah,
inauthentic, and I really appreciate when somebody that you trust online keeps your trust like that.
yeah, and that's the best way to progress. David Dobrik he does one post for $100,000, right? So it's like he couldn't have gotten to that point if he just started throwing out every ad he could, because he wouldn't have built that trust.
Right.
It's so valuable to say no. Like, it's very valuable to say no. And if I ever have to say, like, there was a point where I had to take one because I was like running, I was broke, and so I had to take a brand deal. Luckily, that led to a lot of other opportunities, so it was great. But it didn't really, align with my content, but it saved my life, and but my audience will understand that.
Yeah.
And even if they don't, like, it is a business. I need to live, and
Right.
so of course, there's value to saying no, but there's also value to saying yes. So it depends. Really.
Yeah, it's kind of a long-term, short-term thing
Oh,
because
for sure.
short-term you could take 100 brand deals in a row and nobody's gonna watch you anymore, or long-term you
Right,
could,
exactly.
and then you get a bigger one next time. So
For sure.
yeah, it's interesting.
Mhm.
Awesome. I had another question. I don't remember it, but this was fun, and I'm glad that
Yeah,
we
it was
talked because
great.
I feel like again, there's just so many misconceptions with influencers, and especially having you know been in the same college as you, and like we
Uh,
were friends and we hung out. You were there for my girlfriend's birthday and everything, and then to
yeah,
watch what's happening to you, it's awesome, and
that's great. Yeah,
I'm proud of you, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, a lot of people have been seeing my stuff, and I'll get texts and like, "Why are you like on my For You page?" And like, it's just like, I don't know, it's cool, and it's good. I was surprised that there was. Well, I don't know what people say, behind my back, and I don't care about that. But I'm surprised about the amount of support that I'm getting from like people that I know about TikTok, and because I know people have their thoughts about it, but it's I hear people get big and get popular, and then people hate on them. I have experienced very little to no hate from people that I know.
Yeah,
Now that's been really, really great.
yeah, that's awesome. Oh, I remember my question now. It's about your cat. Does he know he's famous?
I No, I'm gonna drop a little bit of Easter egg. He can't hear. He's deaf.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but we have such a unique way of communicating though. Like we do communicate. Like I have a certain amount of times I'll tap on the ground for something. If I tap on the ground like once, I want him to come here. Twice, there's a food or a treat. And
That's
like the way that we look at each other, gestures, like I can motion him like that to come here. He understands stop and like sit. It's crazy. Like, but we don't talk. I still talk to him, but it's
that's nuts. Are you
yeah.
ever gonna disclose that?
I mean, I'll do it here. I'm not gonna like make. I might make a TikTok about it one day because I know that video would probably do well. But for now, that's just for you and whoever stumbles upon this, and whoever, because I'll try and plug this as much as I can. So
Yeah,
yeah,
if you do,
people
it's
see
fine,
it.
but, um, I think I've met your cat at one of your parties.
Oh yeah, you definitely have. Yeah, at my old apartment. Yeah, that's crazy.
So honored.
I know, it's right. It's like his origin story.
That's so funny. That's awesome, man. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
again, I'm just really happy for what's going on. And
Thank you. Yeah, and I want to working on listening to your podcast because I didn't know you were doing it until you reached out.
I'll send you a link, but it's Defining Success on anywhere, Spotify, Apple Music, and I
For sure.
started doing it because of quarantine, and
Yeah.
I've had access to some pretty cool people, some pretty successful people, and it's got a small following, but I enjoy doing it, and
Yeah, it's good.
I
Yeah, if
like
you like
having
it,
these
that's good.
conversations with people I normally wouldn't probably get into this
Mhm.
type of talk with. So
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll keep doing it, brother.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. And I'll see you on TikTok.
I'll see you on TikTok.
All right, so once again, that was Zach Padgett, and if you would like to check out his TikToks that we were mentioning and go see him and his cat Albus up to some really positive and fun videos, check him out on TikTok by looking up Skinny Pudge, Pudge, and he did mention his merch, but I'd like to mention it again here at the end, and go to wholesomepines.com for his merch. And like we were saying in the podcast, it's a really cool brand, and it's more than just merch, so go ahead and check that out. But I would like to thank Zach again for coming on the podcast. And yeah, we're actually on video now, the podcast is. So if you want to check this out on YouTube, Instagram, or even TikTok, some highlights, then go check out Defining Success on all of those platforms. And thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll be back again next week.